Hey guys, the Commander Casual, back after a fairly long hiatus, but I've decided to start making some more videos again. And to those of you who have stayed subscribed to my channel for I think it was a 2 year hiatus, and kept commenting, when are you gonna post more videos? I really appreciate it. I thought I'd start off by playing a deck that I actually have in paper, that I've recently become really fond of, which is Pako, the Arcane Retriever, and Haldan, the Avid Arcanist, as partners together. They came out with I think the Ikoria Commander set. But the rundown of the cards is that Pako is a hasty 3/3 elemental dog, and when he attacks, you exile the top card of each player's library, and you put a fetch counter on them. For each card, each non-creature, sorry, exiled that way, he gets a +1/+1 counter, and then you can play non-creatures exiled with fetch counters on them with Haldan. So they work well as a 1-2 punch because you can throw Paco down as a hasty beater that gets big really quick, and then you can kind of cash in on all those extra spells for some extra card advantage. And how I've chosen to make this deck is the way that I have my paper deck set up, which is that it's a no creature deck, obviously short of the two commanders we have here. But the idea is that we never miss on Paco's trigger, so we're always getting at least one counter from Paco, and then we're likely to get, the rest of the triggers off of like basic lands or instants and sorceries. I mean, you're less likely to get it if you're playing against creature-heavy decks, like a lot of tribal decks, stuff like that. But usually, I find I get about three counters this way, or 3 to 4 counters that way, which is pretty nice. But I'll move on to the deck tech pretty quickly. Mana base isn't anything too special. Obviously, we've got kind of some of our commander staple multicolored lands. We've got the Frontier Bivouac, and we've got, with Ikoria, we've got Ketria Triome now as well. Got all the guild gates in the colors. I have a lot of mountain forests just in my collection on MTGO, so I used a lot of those. Most of the deck is a lot of ramp. We're running a lot of artifact ramp, especially in like low mana costs. I got all the signets for the Tamir color wedge. But the idea behind this deck is not only that you always hit with Paco, but you want to build up as much kind of mana resource as you can so that you can cast, all the extra spells that you exile, and then as well all your opponent's extra spells. And it ends up being a super fun deck because you get to play all these new spells every game, because you never really know what you're going to get from your opponent's libraries. And then you just build up, a ton of artifact mana, as well as, using some more classic ramp like Explore and Rampant Growth and Cultivate, Kadama's Reach, Explosive Vegetation. The rest of this deck, I have a little bit of removal, like Prophetic Bolt, Beast Within, Chaos Warp. I've got some card draw with Rhystic Study. What else? I have a little bit more Chart a Course and stuff like that. I've got Hardened Scales and a little bit of stuff that plays well with Paco, so this just gives him an extra counter whenever he gets counters. I've got a little bit of protection for him, like Alpha Authority, Whisper Silk Cloak, Swiftfoot Boots, and Lightning Greaves, obviously another big commander staple. The idea for this deck is like you can do the no creature shell, but kind of just build it however you want to play. Like if you want to do like an instance and sorcery decks, like cut the artifact mana, focus on more like ramp style spells, or if you want to do more like you could do an enchantment base for this. You could do like a specifically artifact one if you wanted to. But I mostly just built this out of cards that I had just in my MTGO library, but I grabbed Pako and Haldan because obviously they weren't just sitting there. And then I also got Seize the Day and the Ketria Triumph. But Seize the Day is great with Pako because he lets you just keep attacking with them. And 4 mana to use and then 3 mana to flashback is not much, but you get to kind of play like an interesting kind of Voltron-y deck here with a lot of control, and just most of the deck is just about building a ton of resources for yourself because you'll get board wipes and you'll get removal and you'll get everything that you need from your opponent's libraries, probably. So far in my paper tests with this game in my local play group, it works pretty well. As far as kind of some of the bigger spells, we've got lots of X spells. Really easy to exploit X spells with these guys. I mean, they'll just sit in our exile pile until we're ready to cast them. Big fans of Treasure Cruise and Dig Through Time for some card advantage, card draw. Boundless Realms is just too hilariously ridiculous a card that just about any green deck I run, I seriously consider putting it in, and sometimes it gets cut, but not often. Temporal Mastery gives us more, like, we want to try to capitalize on as many hits with Pako as possible, and him having haste just on himself as a card is so advantageous for that, because early stages of the game we're going to focus on swinging in with him, just amassing this huge, essentially like secondary hand that we can exploit with Haldan afterwards, and then while we're building up our huge mana base. Temporal Mastery for an extra turn, as I was saying. Volcanic Visions, board wipe, gets us an instant or sorcery back. Mind's Dilation is just another big bomb. As I said, like the deck tech doesn't have to be anything too specific. You can kind of modify this one to just some of your favorite cards. You know, like I really like Artifact Mutation. Bounty of the Luxa might not be everybody's favorite card, but I really like it. Put in whatever you want, as long as it generally synergizes with Pako and Haldan. But the no creature thing actually works really well when you focus really heavily on ramp. And then you're never missing with Pako, so you're also getting a little bit of a damage boost there. And you just open up your options more, because you can also play lands exiled with Pako. And that's pretty much the deck tech for that. So check out the other videos following this one. And it's good to be back, guys. I'm really happy that a lot of you stuck with me while I took a bit of a hiatus. Some life stuff changed, but I'm really happy to be back, okay?